Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn about DHCP. What is a DHCP server? A DHCP server is a network server that automatically provides and assigns IP addresses, default gateways, and other network parameters to client devices. It relies on the standard protocol known as Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol or DHCP to respond to broadcast queries by clients. A DHCP server automatically sends the required network parameters for clients to properly communicate on the network. Without it, the network administrator has to manually set up every client that joins the network, which can be cumbersome, especially in large networks. DHCP servers usually assign each client with a unique dynamic IP address, which changes when the client's lease for that IP address has expired. Today we're gonna configure DHCP server. First of all, let's move on to a terminal and install DHCP. To do that, you can use apt-get install. I'm going to use Kali for this. You can use this command right here to install DHCP. It will take some time depending on your hardware and your internet connection, network connection. Press enter and it will ask you to install. Press after that press Y or yes. Type in yes and it will automatically install. I'm not going to do that because I've previously installed the DHCP server installation in my Kali environment. After that, let's try to start the server by typing in this command right here. If you press enter, you might think that this command is right here to start the service. As you can see, starting the ISC DHCP server, and it will eventually end up with a failed notification. So there must be something wrong in the start of the service. So there are some configurations that need to be done in order to start the service because the configurations are not properly configured to listen on a port. So the services cannot be started properly. So we have to configure some files in the DHCP. First of all, let's see what is the IP address of our machine right here. And as you can see, 192.168.1.102. I'm gonna copy this one. And next up, once I've copied my IP address, I'm gonna see that the interface of our IP address right here, the interface is ETH0. After that, I'm gonna go to this folder right here, network, and I'm gonna go to interfaces. And I'm going to open the interfaces configuration file. And after that, I'm gonna edit this the loopback network interface right here. As you can see, there are some additional settings that need to be edited. So for that, I'm gonna use this VI editor. Just type in what I am typing in here. So our interface is the ETH0, as we remember previously. It is ETH0 unit DHCP. And as you may see, we need root permission for this. In order to edit the this document right here, we need root permission. And we have successfully edited our interface document right here. Interface file that is completed. The phase 1 of our configuration is completed. The next phase is editing the DHCP server, ISC DHCP server configuration file. So for that, we have to move to etc default and default folder, and we have to find the ISC. We have to go inside the ISC DHCP server. We have to look into the configuration file of the ISC DHCP server configuration file right here. As you can see, we have to edit this file as well. So for that, I'm going to use VI editor. But to do that, you have to have root permission. Now I'm going to edit this one right here. As you can see, main thing to remember is I'm going to edit only the interfaces v4. If you do not have these two lines available, what you can do is type it by yourself. That is totally fine. You can even include only this one, this first line v4. After that, what you need to do is type in our interface name, ETH0, and that is the make sure to save it. As you can see, we have edited this file as well. Now that concludes our second step, or the second phase of our configuration. And next up, we're going to have to move to the etc DHCP folder and take a backup of our DHCP configuration file, and then edit the not the backup but the first file, and make some changes. So let's do that. Go to etc DHCP And as you can see, we have dhcpd.conf. So we have to take a copy of this dhcpd.conf file. And rename it as a backup in case of an emergency. You have to have a permission for this as well. And as you can see, we have created DHCP d2.conf. So DHCP d and DHCP d2 both files are the same, and I've taken a backup file for this file, configuration file. Now we can safely edit our DHCP configuration file. First of all, let's look inside the DHCP configuration file. As you can see, we have to edit some very few commands. There are some yeah, right here. We have to edit this one right here. So let's open up this configuration file using the di command. Make sure to have a root permission for this one as well. And as you can see, we now have entered the configuration file. What we need to edit is we have to remove these comments of this file right here, of this range right here, and it says here this is a very basic subnet declaration. You can remove the comments or the hashtags. After that, you have to edit this part right here. Remember that we have copied, or we already know our IP address. So if you do not know your IP address, what you can do is type in and 192.168.1.102 is our IP address. That is fine. And now we know our IP address. And after that, we need to enter our subnet. (1.0). So this is our subnet. And the next part is our net mask. I'm gonna leave this whole part, this 255.255.255, and remove this part right here and make it 0. That is our net mask, and we can assign any range right here. So that is totally fine. But it should fall on the same IP range that is in your IP address. So let's assume that let's say that we are assigning a range of 192.168.1.100, and the next part is 192.168.1.200. So this right here is our IP range. So whenever a machine logs into our network or enters our network, one of these IPs will be assigned to those devices automatically. And this right here is our default gateway. We have to input our default gateway. You have to leave this whole part and remove this only this part only. 192.168.1.1. So this is our default gateway, and that finishes our phase 3 of our configurations, and this is all done. As you can see, we have completed the configuration of the DHCP d.conf file as well, and make sure to save that. The next part is now we have completely configured our files, all those hoops that we have to go through. Now we have completely done that. Now we have to start our service. And as you can see, there is no errors, everything works perfectly, and our DHCP server starts. There's no problem at all. Thank you very much.